FM, The Source.
All right, 7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We get we have the privilege, I should say, of getting to speak to some talented folks by doing this radio show. That's an across-the-board statement. And we can actually narrow it down to a group of people that we get to know through the L. Ron Hubbard Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest. And this is a contest that has made it possible for some authors and for some illustrators to perhaps get noticed that might not have otherwise gotten noticed. And it's always amazing to me how talented our guests are, and to think that maybe without something like a contest like this, they might never have been noticed. We live in a big world. How many people on this planet? 7 billion? So I guess it's understandable that some talented people sometimes get overlooked. That's why I just always brag about this contest. If you know a writer or an illustrator and they are especially talented in the field of science fiction and or fantasy, I'm not really sure if I'm saying that right, but I would recommend this because guess what? It'll catapult your career, and guess what else? It's free.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get any better than that. And they don't push anything on you. They are not trying to sell you anything. No. They're just trying to help you promote your career. They do sell books, though. Galaxy Press is the publisher, and they put out some really great books, including the collection of stories and illustrations that come out of this contest each year. The one that's out right now is volume number 34. So that means they've been doing this for 34 years. I got the cover. See how many the New Yorker comes out of me. I have the cover of the book on the podcast that we're doing right now, and I think I have the right picture for our guest, Reyna Nicole Rochin. I may be mispronouncing her name. What do I need?
No, you got it right.
Oh, I got it right.
Right, exactly.
And I got you, and you're on the microphone too. Good morning, Reyna. How are you?
Good morning. I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
I got your picture off of Facebook. I think that's is that an illustration or is that a photograph? It looks like half and half.
Both, yes. No, it's a painting of just a quick selfie that I had taken.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Atlanta. I'm kind of in the West Midtown area, so I am local.
Oh, okay. So not too far away.
Yeah.
So I went looking for you, online, so I could put your picture on here, and I saw this girl lifting weights, and I thought, well, that must be a different Reyna Nicole Rochin. But no, you're one and the same. You've got talent, and you've got. I mean, you're a muscle person, huh?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, powerlifter would be the correct term. Yeah, that's just been something that's my life has pretty much been like 50% fitness and powerlifting and 50% art. So if I kind of have one without the other, my life is extremely unbalanced. So I need both.
I'm guessing powerlifters are good to have as friends, especially if you're an artist, because they make good models. Am I right?
That's actually extremely true. Yeah. And you nailed it. I actually use a lot of like my gym buddies as reference photos for a lot of the illustrations that I make.
I don't blame. Do you ask them to pose weird? Like, hey, can you pose like you're fighting a monster or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, basically. And they're really cool people, so they always oblige. But yeah, no, that's exactly what I do. It's a good time.
While we're talking, Reyna, if you could give me like a website, or is there a place I can get your artwork? I want to show some of the artwork on the video we're doing.
Sure. Right now, probably the artstation.com one. Okay. Artstation.com is just a really great kind of portfolio website for artists who are doing stuff in the entertainment field. So it'll be artstation.com/ just my first name, last name, art. So Reyna Rochin Art.
Okay, I'm going to go there right now. And if you're watching the video, those pictures will be up there in just a second.
Awesome.
What kind of medium do you prefer?
So I am a pretty much completely digital artist at this point. So I have a background in traditional drawing and painting, which is, like acrylics and oils and pencils and whatnot. But as of the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I've switched to digital painting, which is essentially painting like in Photoshop, which is a thing.
And when you do original artwork then on the digital, Do you
Yeah.
go to a reputable printer to print it out so they get the colors super correct?
Yeah, that is the one sort of caveat with digital art, is that there essentially isn't kind of one original painting. You can kind of have limited editions, but there's a handful of printers that I go to in Atlanta. Actually, my most favorite being Minutemen on Peachtree. So shout out to them.
Oh,
They always
okay.
make really, really good stuff. Yeah. But they're right there on Peachtree and like 17th ish. So, but usually them. Yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And when you do your art, do you like being indoors, sort of sequestered away from everybody, or can you be outdoors just enjoying whatever's going on?
Yeah, a second sort of caveat with digital painting is that I pretty much have to be indoors. But I think generally as illustrators, we, in school and professionally, we're working by ourselves most of the time. So I think we're used to kind of being in a secluded little area and like being in our little work zone, and then going into the outside world later on. But generally, I really enjoy just kind of being inside and being in my room and working.
We had an artist on not too long ago, and he also does digital art, and he was telling us that his wife feels like he gets more respect when he does traditional art, and so he was working on a graphic novel or something,
Yeah, graphic novel.
And his wife said to him, "Why don't you do this in traditional art?" And he goes, "Because I want to pay the bills."
Yes. That's an extremely good point. And yeah, it is kind of unfortunate. I think it's because when people hear the word digital, they think like, oh, you're just putting on some filters and some...
The computer does it all for you, yeah.
Right, yeah, the computer does it for you, and you're just clicking a few buttons to make this thing. Like, no, like, you really still got to have if you don't have a strong traditional background, you won't be a good digital artist no matter what. Like, you still have to know color theory and all the principles in order to be good at that.
Yeah,
so.
and we've spoken to enough artists from this contest, as a matter of fact, to know that everybody, it's just as varied as traditional art. I mean, if it's a canvas and a brush, it's really no different than a tablet and a stylus or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I help me out here. I went to artstation.com and I put in your first name and last name. Is there a...
Yeah, so it should be artstation.com/Reyna Rochin Art.
Oh, Reyna Rochin Art. The word art, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It seems like you would be a good mentor to up-and-coming artists, because you said earlier that you do have to have that balance. You just can't focus on the art all the time. You have to do other things in your life.
Yeah, I think, every kind of artist has a different balance that way, right? Because I do know artists who are doing this, 12, 16 hours a day and then just sleep and then do it all over again. And like, I've learned that about myself, that I can't do that I have to sort of have other interests and do other things to kind of balance it out so that I can come back to my art and be fresh and feel good and make good work.
So your art will suffer then if you don't take time to do other things.
Exactly. Yeah. And as much as I think that's another kind of stereotype of artists, is that we're, getting 3 hours of sleep and slaving away at our trade and all that stuff. And maybe some people do that and that works for them. But I think, as an artist, it's really important to really think about and recognize what your boundaries are and what your limits are and adhere to that.
And how was the contest brought to your attention?
Yeah. How did you find out?
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, it was a Google search. I'm almost at the end of my graduate degree, and so about this time last year, I was just searching for scholarships and contests and things that I could enter my art in, and then this popped up, and honestly, it didn't even look that legitimate, right? Because you guys said, it's free, and there's all these prizes and all this stuff, and I'm like, this can't be real. There's no way.
I know.
So I entered technically during the second quarter. And then I got a call last summer saying I had won, which was just nuts.
Wow.
So, simple little Google search, and it got me there.
It's going to be fun. So are you going out there in a week or two, right? But for the award ceremony.
Yes. Yeah. So April 2nd to April 9th, I will be in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Which is fun. Which is also fun for me because I am actually born and raised in LA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Old home.
So
Yeah, you seem like
So
an
I
LA
don't-
girl. I was thinking about that, actually. You seem more LA
Everybody
than
says that.
than Atlanta. Yeah.
yeah, I love Atlanta. I love it here, and I plan on staying here. But yeah, LA is technically home, so it'll just also be another chance for me to see some friends and family, which will be really nice.
And are you
So-
looking forward to the workshops?
Yeah, I kind of have no idea what I'm in for. we haven't gotten a lot of information about it, but I definitely trust and know that the artists that they're bringing in to teach and do these workshops are great, and like I can only expect that it's going to be wonderful, whatever it is.
Do you know
So-
everything in life that we think we are perfected at? If you find somebody else who's also perfected at it, you can still learn from that person. I mean, this happens for us in radio all the time. It happens probably for everybody. And
Yeah.
when let's see, we were watching a video one time of this contest, and it showed the authors. And they were seeing their artwork for the first time, and I guess they had to guess which one was theirs or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, what an amazing moment that must be for you as the artist and for the author. It's almost like you're going to develop a friendship. Or have you already met the author that you illustrated for?
Yes, I have. Well, on the internet, I have. We've talked a little bit. So obviously, yeah, she doesn't know. What my work looks like. But that was like seriously a really great opportunity because they pair each illustrator up with a writer, and you do a painting for their short story. And the story that I got was this really, really gorgeous, really entertaining story. And then I started talking to the author, and she's super cool. And so I'm really excited for that too. I think it's going to be really fun. Really
so
exciting.
is the story that she wrote and the art that you did for that story in volume 34, or will that be in volume 35?
No, I believe that will be in volume. Oh, you know what? I think her story will be. Oh gosh, I don't know.
I think 34, according to Carl's
okay,
notes,
okay.
that this
I'm
is
pretty-
and this release date is April of 2018, volume 34.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they. So yes, I think that's exactly what it is.
Okay, so that's why I'm confused, because if you're going to show a piece of art for the first time, then that story that you did the art for appears when or where?
That'll be in volume 34. So I think the book came out a little early.
Oh, okay.
So they're just encouraging the writers to not look at.
Okay.
So that no one finds out.
Oh,
I
no.
think that is the confusion there. Yeah, so you guys can look at it, obviously, but for the sake of the writers, being revealed to their artwork, they're not supposed to look at it right now. So that will be in volume 34.
When we were talking earlier about how you do your art digitally, and you say you have to do it inside, that seems to me you have a desktop computer.
Yeah, so what I use, a tablet is kind of the most common thing that digital artists use. I use what's called a Cintiq, so it pretty much functions as another monitor. And instead of me like using the stylus on a tablet that's down in front of me, I'm actually just drawing straight on the monitor. And that is pretty much what that is also what
we have
a lot of digital artists use.
An art teacher who comes in here once in a while with one of his students, and that seems to be what everybody's doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it ends up your buddy said, like paying the bills. It ends up being faster and really efficient, and I mean, kind of like you said too, like you still won't make good work if you're not a good artist. The digital, platform doesn't change anything.
Right, absolutely.
So-
Yeah. So tell me about the subject matter. When you are doing artwork, is it kind of free form? Do you just decide, okay, I'm going to draw? Like I'm looking at one right now. It's an amazing painting. Really, it looks like a young girl looking at somebody riding away on a horse. I mean.
Oh yeah. So right now, like a lot of the stuff that is in my portfolio actually are for school assignments. So I am at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, at the campus here in Atlanta. And so I've been here for the last 2 years in that program. So a lot of those assignments are for that. And what they do is they kind of like put some guidelines out, and then I have to work within those guidelines. So that piece, for example, is actually about Baba Yaga, which is like an Eastern European kind of folklore tale.
Okay.
And so we had the task of kind of illustrating just a scene from, the Baba Yaga story, and kind of doing that in our style and kind of however we wanted. So there's usually, for those pieces right now, there's usually some guidelines or it's an assignment, and then I kind of work within that. So.
You seem to be such an extremely positive person, and yet their jealousy abounds sometimes. How do you deal with the naysayers? How would you tell the other artists to deal with the naysayers and try to ignore them?
Yeah, well, I think what's funny enough is that I think for artists, the naysayer is often ourselves. I don't think we get like a lot of sort of like external hate or anything like that. I think a lot of it comes from comparing ourselves to other people, because in this day and age, media is so available to us on Instagram and Tumblr and Facebook and all of these different things where you can see all of these people, all these talented people, and you see that all the time, and you're like, oh my God, am I good? Like, am I ever going to actually make this? Like, all these people are famous already, blah, blah, blah. So I would say just like, don't do that. Don't compare yourself to other artists. Enjoy other artists and try to soak up creativity from other people when you can. But at the end of the day, like, you just have to look at your own progress and your own goals and just go for that 100% and not care about other people. So.
There was a story we heard the other day. I might get this partially wrong, but you'll get the gist of it. A guy was on a flight, and he was sitting next to Picasso. Was that the artist, Robin?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Have you heard the story before?
I don't think so.
Where he says, "Oh my gosh, you're the famous artist," and he goes, "Let me ask you something. Why is it that you new artists don't draw anything that looks real? It all looks like all messed up, right?" And Picasso says, "Well, because it's more interesting." He goes, "I don't know. I like real better." And Picasso says to him, "Well, what do you mean by real?" So he pulls out he opens his wallet, he pulls out a picture of his wife, and he hands it to Picasso. He says, "What is this?" Picasso says, "What is this?" He said, "That's my wife." And Picasso says, "Well, she's awfully small and really flat."
Yes.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
And so
no, I haven't.
Well, and I guess his point was that, if you do something that's a little different, then maybe people will pay attention to you. We've got lots of people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think, going along with kind of like the, people thinking digital isn't as, honorable or is as good. It's kind of the same thing there. Like, people have this idea that only these, really realistic oil paintings of like female nudes are, the top of the top. And that's just not the case anymore.
Well, we got cameras for that. So.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
What kind of characters do you really enjoy drawing? What is at the top of your list?
I bet you enjoy this. I'm looking at your artwork. It's amazing.
Thank you. So I'm kind of on the more fantasy side, if anything, as far as like the fantasy and science fiction things go. And I really like to explore like mythology, so gods and goddesses from kind of different places and different religions that create different gods and stuff. So I think mythology for me is the biggest one, and interpreting those stories.
Do you know what it looks like to me, Reyna, just from the outside looking in? It looks like you've been heading in this direction all your life, basically. And the fact that you've hooked up with the Writers and Illustrators of the Future Awards is absolutely going to catapult you in the way that I promised our listeners at the beginning. And I think you will find yourself in the company of people who want illustrators who can do what you can do, who have the same kind of vision for something, a quality product that when it's all done, I really think that this is going to be very, very, very good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing has been really surreal from like the second that they called me up until now, and they've done a really excellent job of getting me on the radio and providing all these opportunities already for me before, the book has even been published. So extremely thankful for that, and really excited every step of the way.
Is there a fantasy story that that was not written by you, but that you incorporated some character from, that was one of your favorites?
I don't, not right now. I don't think I have anything. There is one author that I really, really enjoy. Her name is Sarah J. Maas, and she has a couple fantasy series out right now that I draw a lot of inspiration from. But I don't have anything that's like kind of directly talking about any of the characters or anything in there. But I do really enjoy those series.
You know, usually at the end of interviews with folks from the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest, I will make a pitch to anybody listening that's a writer or an illustrator. Can I ask you to do that? Tell them, maybe the illustrator that's out there listening who would love to be doing what you're doing. Tell them what your experience has been.
Yeah, so, you know, one, I would say, like, definitely just go for it. Again, you know, our biggest naysayers are often ourselves, and a lot of times you look at these contests, are like, oh, am I even going to win? Like, does this even matter or whatever? And it was extremely easy to enter, free, like you guys said, and I ended up winning. So I would say, like, please, please, please enter, because I've seen a lot of different talent levels and a lot of different styles that go into that end up winning this contest. So there's that, first of all. And so, you know, when I won first, I got like just a $500 check in the mail for winning, which is amazing. And then during that conversation, I was also told that they're going to fly me out to LA for a week for, you know, these workshops, and then also, you know, the big fancy kind of gala event at the end. So, you know, there's certainly no harm in entering. Just takes a few minutes. And so far, like, I actually also encountered some of them at Dragon Con last year here in Atlanta. And so I've met some of these people in person, and they're just super passionate and super excited and really eager to help kind of young, new artists out.
Oh, yeah.
I, you know, haven't seen before.
John Goodwin was in Atlanta for that Comic-Con you just talked about, right?
Yes, yeah, I met him, and I think a couple other people from Galaxy Press, and then Echo Chernick, who is one of the judges and also kind of spearheads this whole thing, and she's really great. And so, yeah, I would just, you know, like I said, sometimes it sounds like too good to be true, but you know, I've been in contact with these people for enough and seen them in person, and
I think writers and illustrators and songwriters and models, I think everybody who's got a dream has all kinds of predators out there. Is that a good word, Robin?
Yeah.
Trying to get their money, and they're asking you for $10, $20, $50 to enter their contests. And it goes nowhere. Even the winners don't go anywhere. But this contest, you'll go someplace even if you don't win. It's going to be better. And it's free. It's absolutely free.
Yes.
Writers and Illustrator. I'm sorry, writersofthefuture.com is the website, right, Robin?
Yes.
Writersofthefuture.com. Reyna, Nicole, Rochin, you are going places. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
That was fun. We'll be right back.
All right.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. Ousted VA Secretary David Shulkin firing off parting shots in an op-ed.
Writing, quote, the environment in Washington has turned so toxic, chaotic, disrespectful, and subversive that it became impossible for me to accomplish the important work that our veterans need and deserve.
Fox's Sandra Smith, the president nominating his personal physician, Ronnie Jackson, as